Okay, so for our review, we're going to do two activities before doing a review game. So the first one that we're going to do is actually a vocabulary practice. So what I'm giving you is a lot of vocabulary. It's vocabulary that you're mostly familiar with. Now, there might be a few things that we didn't cover or a few things you don't know. What I want you to do when you hit a word like that is to just not panic. This is not the time to cram or add in new information. What we're doing is we're solidifying content we already know, and then we're making connections. Now that we've gone through all the main units and themes of government, what we're trying to do is see if we can connect learning from the first unit to the fifth or the sixth unit. So can we make those connections? And that's what you're going to do with this activity. So for each term, what I want you to do is look at the word, maybe read the definition, but then interact with the term. Add something to it. Make a connection. So, for example, representative democracy, also called a republic. We read about what Madison thought about the value of a republic in Federalist 10. And in that one, he goes through a very logical argument about why a republic would be so good, and particularly a large republic. So you could just add any detail, but on this one I would say the larger republic, better, according to Federalist 10 or Madison. So there's not a single right answer. It's just something that you can add in from what you've learned previously. Down here, bicameralism, the principle of a two-house legislature. You're pretty comfortable with that, but maybe here you put like the two wonderful reasons for having bicameralism. It helped sort out representation. You shouldn't have to write much more than that. That should help you to recall that large states and small states had to come to a compromise in order to get the 9 votes to ratify the new Constitution. And then it's a nice perk of that bicameral legislature is that you have intra-branch checks and balances. Okay, what I don't want you to do is go one by one down the row. What that does is it makes you stop and lose your flow. And what this is about is building up momentum and building up confidence. So, you can scan through and take them in. That doesn't mean you have to each one do that right now. It does help to look at the other pages and get things flowing, get ideas going. So you can do 1 or 2, and you'll come back to this page later, and then move on and look at another thing that you could build on. So I don't want you to freak out if you hit something you don't know. For example, we didn't go over cross-cutting requirements. So when you hit something that we didn't cover, what I'd like you to do is read it, think about it for a moment, and then move on. Don't panic about memorizing one new term. I promise you, you have the skills and the basics to do quite well. And so just scan through, linkage institutions. That was in the policymaking system. We know there's 4. Can you, off the top of your head now, recall the 4? This is where you learn that you are quite prepared. So a linkage institution would be elections, parties, that's more, interest groups, and the media. So that's what you should do for the next 40 minutes or so. And then go back and start over. Look for the ones you skipped. And do as many as you can. Okay, so again, if you hit something that you don't know, read through it, think on it. Maybe you can come up with something to put to the side. But do not get stopped there. Don't kill the flow of continuing on to look at other vocabulary. Okay, so that's this. And then the next activity is about seeing your a little bit of recall of the Constitution, but also you're just understanding, your deep understanding of what the Constitution does and how it limits the government. So there's a nice intro page, and then you are supposed to answer lots of questions about the Constitution's basic provisions. What I would like you to do is to not immediately pull out your Constitution and start looking. If you do that, you deprive yourself of the opportunity to figure it out, and you deprive yourself of the opportunity to learn that you are ready to go. So you should know the first 3 articles. You should know that Article 1 is about the legislative branch, Article 2 is about the executive branch, and Article 3 is about the judicial branch. And these ones might be a little more difficult, so you might have to look. But see if you can recall, this is about the 3 branches. Article 4 deals a lot with federalism, so does Article 6. Article 7 really is just a bunch of signatures. So see if you can suppose what those are and then check your Constitution. Then there's more in-depth questions about what the Constitution says. Some of these you should know off the top of your head. Some you won't, and so this will be a nice learning opportunity as well. Okay, that is it.